I'm joined now by former New Mexico Governor Bill Richardson and Jim Douglas. Let's bring these gentlemen in. Jim Douglas, former Republican governor from Vermont. And gentlemen, you just heard Lou talking about the major challenges, but also the opportunities for these candidates. I will begin with you, Governor Richardson. Right off the bat, you're looking at issues that matter to different states in this union. What do you think they have to tackle most importantly to what you've been hearing from not politicians, but people in your state?
National security has replaced the economy, jobs as the #1 issue, the #1 concern. Are we safe? ISIS, how do we combat ISIS? At the same time, I think the whole issue of this economy, maybe the stock market has been going up and down, but wages have not gone up. There's income inequality. So traditionally, it's been the economy as a #1 issue, but right now, national security, and I would also include immigration in that whole national security issue, the issue of how can we prevent potential terrorists from getting in the country at the same time that we have a sensible immigration policy to fix a broken system. So those are the two issues that I think are going to define this debate, that will bring one candidate from the establishment, break them out, and possibly find a way, as I'm hoping, that Donald Trump somehow is stopped. I mean, I'm speaking as a Democrat.
But which brings me to Governor Douglas. Then do you have an opportunity where you feel tonight there is a chance for some of the lower decibel voices in the GOP, perhaps the K6, or I never thought I'd say this, Chris Christie's, to get their position out and grab the attention? What do you expect, and what would you like to see tonight?
Well, exactly that. To see some of these folks with whom I've served as governors of their states articulate the experience they bring, the views that they have, and how they could provide some leadership to our country. It's a fascinating year, and I agree entirely with Bill on the major issues that the candidates need to confront. Traditionally, pocketbook issues govern how people decide to cast their votes, but security is quite prominent these days, both domestically and internationally.
You heard Lou Dobbs saying that security was very tight, and of course that's security for both all of the candidates and of course what Fox has put into place. But you know, these so-called soft targets, although I would argue they aren't, have really become an issue that matters to Americans. But Governor Douglas had just mentioned the pocketbook issues. Look at our markets today. While up 250 points for the Dow Jones Industrials, Governor Richardson, this has been a terrible start to a year for the stock market, and it puts a bad taste in Americans' mouths where they're looking for somebody who will find stability and come up with solutions in a very tough world where we see that we could be doing fine, but other countries that aren't, such as China, or perhaps the oil situation, start to really hurt us. Can anything be done here, and by which candidate?
Well, I think, Liz, one of the big problems is the global economy. There's a lot of issues that right now the presidential candidates economically are addressing. But, for instance, you take energy. There's an oil glut. And despite the fact that in the United States we have shale and oil and gas is increased in terms of production, we're basically energy safe, you've got parts of the country like New Mexico, the oil patch, that is really hurting right now because oil prices have gone down so dramatically. Yes, gasoline prices are down, and that helps the consumer. But, you know, the energy economy is very important. And the problem is countries like China, that right now there's a slowdown there. In India, there's problems also with warm weather. Oil and gas is used less. But at the same time, you know, it's all interconnected, the global economy, with what happens in America.
We thought that would be great, Governor Douglas. We did. A global economy and a Europe that's all connected, and it has turned out to have a certain double-edged sword quality to it. But Vermont is obviously different from New Mexico. New Mexico is different from other states. What do you think is the common thread that people will listen for tonight among all of these candidates where they'll say, that's my guy, that's my woman?
Well, despite the fact that there are some favorable statistics like low unemployment, a lot of jobs created, strong corporate balance sheets. The market's doing generally well, except for the last week. I'm not sure a lot of Americans feel that they have gotten out of the Great Recession. And they're going to look for a candidate who will provide hope and opportunity for each one of them and their families. They want to be sure that they have a sustainable employment opportunity. They want a job, they want a place to live, they want to feel like they're making progress. And that's what they're going to look for.
Well, yeah, it's a matter of feeling and then the reality, and the two, we hope, shall meet. Good to see both of you, former Governors Bill Richardson and Jim Douglas.